Right, so for this video, my trader friends, we'll be talking all about the break statements in our for loop. This is the continuation of our video series regarding the loop, and without further ado, let's start this Python tutorial. Okay, so break statements in for loop. So take note, my friends, that in for loop will go through each and every item inside a sequence. And what if we want to stop the for loop given a specific conditions? For example, we have thousands of items inside a list, and we want the for loop to be specific to stop when the condition inside our 500 item is met. So what will happen? What we will use? So actually that is the reason why we have this so-called break statements. So meaning to say, break statements stop the for loop if a specific item or a specific condition is met along the looping function. Okay, so for our task, let's have first our task number 1. For the task number 1, we should print the items inside lagging technical indicators but stop the loop once MACD is met. So let's stop the loop once MACD is met, meaning to say the MACD, the MACD, this is actually one of our items inside the list. This is the last and final output. Okay, so without further ado, let's start our coding. Please open your Anaconda and open your Jupyter notebook. Okay, so we are now here on our Jupyter notebook. First of all, let's have first our title here. So let's write here break statements in for loop. Let's mark down and run this. Okay, so for our task, since we have here, this is actually the list of our list, which is one of the output on our previous video. So moving average, MACD, Bollinger Bands, and we are tasked here to make a for loop just like this one on our previous video tutorial, but this time the loop must stop when MACD is met, meaning to say Bollinger Bands should not be a part of our output and MACD should be the last item on our output. Okay, using of course the break statements in for loop. So how we will do that? Just copy this for loop. I hope you guys, before watching this video, you must watch first our previous video tutorial regarding the loops, the introduction to loops, and of course the for loop, for you to be able to grasp the idea of having the break statements in for loop. Okay, so let's paste this. Meaning to say, for X in lagging technical indicators, or for every items inside our lagging technical indicators list, print X or print that item. But we have another condition here, therefore we will be having our condition statement if X is equals to MACD. Take note guys, I will just repeat, though I have already said this before. A single equal sign is very much different from double equal sign. So a single equal sign is just an assignment operator, meaning to say you are assigning a value or a number or a string in a specific variable. So that's why it is called as assigning operator, or assignment operator rather. For the double equal sign, this is for checking. So just like we are saying, if X is equals to MACD, so more on equating something to a specific variable. So if X is equals to MACD, if it happens that during the looping the item is now MACD, what we will going to do is, of course, to break. Meaning to say, for example, the moving average is now printed, which is the first item, that is the index number 0, and it goes back again to our loop because it is not equals to MACD, so the break function will not be executed. And take note again, my friends, for our break statement, it must have an indentation for our Python to notice that this break statement is under this condition. Okay, so if x equals MACD. And now, since we are now on the second loop, MACD, so for x in lagging technical indicator, so x here now is MACD, print MACD. If x is MACD, which is true, break. So meaning to say, stop the loop. So it will not go back to this again. No, to print the Bollinger Bands. It will not happen anymore since we have now the break. Okay? So, meaning to say, the output of this code should be moving average and MACD only. Okay, so let's start and check. So, let's run this and check if we are correct. So, okay, so let's run. And that's it. We are actually done. So, MACD is the last item. Okay, so let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation. Task number 2. For our task number 2, continuation of our task number 1. So this time, we should stop the loop once MACD is met. So sorry for the typographical error. So once MACD is met. But this time, do not print MACD. See, so this is just a variation of our first task. We shouldn't want MACD to be printed. Therefore, we will just have a somehow simple trick on our coding. So let's go back to our Jupyter notebook. Let's copy this and paste. So since our task 2 says that MACD shouldn't be printed, our coding now should be just like this one. We will delete this print. So for X, in lagging technical indicators, and this will be where our print is. Take note, guys, take note. Print is only one indentation away from the most left part of our cell. Meaning to say, this print function is under the for loop. But below the for loop, there is another condition, which is if x equals MACD, then break. The break here is indented under the if function. So this is the inner condition. Okay, so meaning to say, for x in lagging technical indicators, if the x that the code is equals to MACD now, you should break and not print the x anymore. But if x is not equals to MACD, so if the answer on this line of code is false, do not break and print the x. This is what will happen to moving average, since moving average is the first item in our list. So meaning to say, the output on these lines of codes, the set of codes, is moving average only. So MACD and Bollinger Bands, even though they are part of our list, they will not be printed anymore. Okay, so let's see if we are correct. Let's run this. And okay, so the output is only moving average. So that is how break statements is used in for loop. I hope you get it, my friends, and I hope you really learn from this series of Python programming tutorial. Okay, so again, that is the end of our break statements in for loop tutorial, and this is the Engineer Trader, your partner from learning to earning. And as always, may your trades be great. Bye bye.